Hi, welcome. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg. I'm here today to talk to you guys about the real estate market and also show you some listings that I have that are currently active, and some are pending, but I'll show you the pending ones just to give you kind of idea what price range and stuff we're at. I have one that is located, it's a commercial property. It's located at 9334 State Road 52 in Hudson. This is an automotive shop, and it is tires right now. This property is a great, actually, opportunity. It's right next to Dunkin' Donuts. It is $450,000, and as you can see, it's a thriving business there. When you turn in off of State Road 52, you'll see Dunkin' on the west side of this property, and you'll pull right into the parking lot there. But as you can see, it was a family-owned and operated business looking to retire. So this is your opportunity for this right now is a tire shop. But there's also, all sorts of different opportunities in there that you could put in there, but there's also a lift, and the property next door is for sale too, which is a restaurant. So if you actually want to clear the properties and make some huge other, opportunity, the red top building there is for sale too for $750. But anyway, this is a good location, and it's right across from a school. There's, as I was saying last week, it's across from McDonald's, next door to Dunkin' Donuts. And there's a car wash, the Hudson, what's it called? No, 5A high school is what it's directly across from. And as you can see, there's a light there of Chicago Avenue and McDonald's. It's between Chicago Avenue and Little Road on State Road 52. And as you can see, the property is a good sized property, and you can sell little tires there. Just a nice, thriving business. And, for someone who wants to do something on their own. And again, $450,000 is a great price for a commercial building and a business too. So if you want to do tires, you can just keep doing tires. Or if you'd like to do some type of different automotive, it's a great opportunity with the building and stuff too. I also have the property, the property in La Quinta. That property is pending, but the reason I want to show you guys this one, it gives you kind of an idea. This one's in Pasco County. It's a 2-bedroom. This one was listed at $197, and it is under contract, was under contract within 3 or 4 days, had several offers on it. This one, again, like I said, is 10826 La Quinta, Newport Richey 34654, and that is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's about 988 square foot, I believe, and this one has a HOA fee less than $300 a month. I want to say it's around $240. $225, I'd have to verify that. It's not a 55 and over, but as you can see, it's kind of dated for like 1990, but everything on this house is in really great condition because the owner would only come and stay 2 months out of the year for years now. So it's kind of, like I said, dated, but it is in great condition. They took lots of TLC, took really good care of it. It's better than those houses that you see where they kind of cover over everything just to sell them. You can see how they kept it and how the tiles are all clean. Everything's original, but it's in great shape and stuff. So the buyer on this one, I don't know if they're going to rip out the carpets and rip out the bathrooms and the kitchens and stuff right away. But this one is pending, and they do have some, list of things that they want to do with the property. But right now, I don't think ripping everything out is one of them. They're just going to, I think, take it room by room, which is a great idea when you're actually moving in and you're just trying to, make it affordable to live in one room and then kind of work outwards, So what you'll do is you'll paint like the master, get it looking good, put the new flooring in, and then move in and then kind of work from there as you live in the property. But as you can see, that property is great. It's located the end unit. 2 carports, has some storage in the front, and also in the back you can see the owner said it's Starkey Park in the back. I'm not sure, I have to verify that, but you can see on the aerial it does look like it, and it is a corner, so it's a great location. And there's the aerial shots on it, so you can kind of see Starkey Park. This one's way out, but Starkey Park does touch the it looks like, see all the greenery that they said is Starkey, but I'm not sure. I didn't do the parcels on it, but it is great to walk out your back door and just see wildlife and stuff like that. And that's the one that I was telling you guys before, that when I showed up there, there was a big, huge owl in the backyard. And I was helping the customers, but then I also was like, look at this owl, is huge. And then the owner on this one I have a lot of different clients, but this owner on this home, as I was sitting there talking to him and stuff, I found out that he is 100 years old, and I was very impressed. I have a lot of clients that will go through the, like the listing, exclusive right of listing, contracts, stuff like that. But this gentleman not only was sharp as a tack, but had his 100-year-old birthday card sitting there. I never would have known he was 100 years old because I saw the birthday cards. But he went through every single thing. And even when we got the contract sent over, I got a kick out of him because they changed the contracts. So everything that is attached in the home stays, that was a normal thing. But now they actually identify the TV stands. The new TV stands, as everybody knows, goes through the wall and leaves this big hook where the TV goes. And they're per contracts now. They just changed it. Well, it's been, I think, 2 years, but that TV stand the TV attachment has to stay on the wall. And then the Ring doorbell cameras have to stay, and security systems have to stay unless otherwise stated. Well, the gentleman noticed that in the actual contract and said, I want you to cross through the TV stand and the Ring doorbells and all that on here. None of this pertains to me, which it didn't pertain to him. As the contract writes, it says, if you have this, if it pertains to you. So anyway, he made me write it all, cross it all out. And he was 100 years old, and I was super impressed at how sharp he was. And I was telling you guys last week, I saw him, and I was in a workout outfit and a ponytail, and no one usually even recognizes me if I don't have makeup on and everything. And I walked by him in Publix, and I was like, he's never going to recognize me. And he said, hi. And I said, hi, I'm your realtor. And he said, I know. And I was like, oh gosh, that's hilarious. So it's so funny because he is 100 and just such a character and so smart and so sharp. So, I know they say, everybody gets older and stuff, but if you're active with your brain, apparently, this gentleman, just sharp as a tack. So anyway, I have another listing on Petunia. It's a lot. It is available. This one, I have a couple different lots. Petunia is throw the pictures of Petunia. It has a great name, Petunia. And as you can see, there's a little water there. There's the easement, and then the water. So waterfront lot for the money, that's a great deal. You're definitely getting a good sized lot. And as I was saying before too, this one, it's built up a lot more as far as the homes around it and stuff. So I'm going to have to send another photographer out there and get more aerial shots of that one because it is so built up around it. I have a couple of them, and one on Broad as well. Again, I'm going to have to send an aerial, photographer out here to get more recent shots because these are older shots, the pictures and stuff, and there's more houses built up. As you know, Florida, we're still building out here. The difference between Florida and I would say the United States is that everyone is still moving. They're still to Florida. They're still, I want to retire in Florida. There's still like the draw to come to Florida. I know the economy, prices, inflation and stuff like that has gone up, but we still have the draw here to have people move, retire. So we're still low in inventory. My buyers are, every time something comes out and they're looking, they run right out. So these lots are good because you could actually build a house, build what you want. It may take like a year to year and a half with a custom home builder, but at least then you get something you like, something in your price range, checks all the boxes that way. I also have another one on Commercial Way. This one's in Brooksville, just north of State Road 50. Again, on this one, I'm going to have to get some more drone shots. This one's $1.5 million. It's just under 20 acres. And this one, as you can see, it's like an island. There's a little bit of, a pond on one side, pond on the other side. So it's kind of like an island, although there is a road going right into it called David Drive. And then on the other side, it's Commercial Way or US 19. A lot of different things you could do with that property. Just a great, the potential's great on that one. I did have a builder who wanted to put some townhouses on there and do, like, I forget what they call it, but basically it's where the seller and the builder then become partners and stuff like that. So that one didn't work out as far as a builder, because I think it's one of those things of, you really have to get some references from the builder, make sure they're good and all that stuff. So that one didn't work out. So the property is still available. So depending on if you just want to build a big house there, it's a great location near Weeki Wachee, Buccaneer Bay, just all the different great locations there. There's a Winn-Dixie, there's a Hardee's, and it's a great location. And oh my gosh, Hardee's. You guys, I don't know if I told you guys this, but when I was 17 years old, I was the Hardee's girl. There used to be a Hardee's in Newport Richey, and I got to meet the mayor and wear the Hardee's. They had this thing that you wear, and so I was the official Hardee's girl for that day. It was pretty exciting, and I got paid $100. So when you're 17, that's pretty exciting in itself. So anyway, if you're buying or selling, give me a call. I can help you pin down the price. I did have property, the one that was listed on Fairview, and that property, we did have a bunch of drama with that. So what we had was, we had a seller who had contacted another realtor, and then the realtor contacted me and said, hey, I don't go this far. Would you like to sell this property? And I said, yeah, sure. So I got in contact with the seller. The seller basically, we listed it. And so the seller had identified themselves, and, we went through and signed the listing agreements. Well, I had 2 lots, and there was another 2 lots and another 2 lots. Well, apparently this seller had contacted 3 different realtors. So we each had 2 lots for sale. So I'm telling you this just so you got the background on it. So I've got 2 lots. Another realtor has 2 lots. Another realtor has 2 lots. So there's 6 lots total. And so I'm selling them. I get a offer in, and then the agent who puts the offer in says, I'm trying to buy these other lots that he has listed too, same seller. And I said, well, that's strange. I wonder why he didn't use me on all these lots. But, okay, sometimes people are different or weird or whatever. So anyway, so we make a deal. We go back and forth. We write up a contract. We all come to an agreement. Seller says, yes, I'll take that. Buyer says, okay. And granted, on all the lots, I got more, just so you guys know, I got more on my lots, even though they were all exactly the same, because we were arguing more and we fought more, and I got more. So just note to self, getting more. But anyway, so anyway, long story longer, the seller then calls me, and I said, hey, I need he's an out of country seller. So I said, hey, if you don't have if you don't have a social security card, the IRS withholds 10% withholding. And he said, I don't have a social security card. I said, okay, well, you have to send an identification you sent over for the listing. You're going to have to send that over again, and I need a copy of your passport. Anyway, when he sends over the selling identification, I noticed that his name isn't exactly as it is on the county records. His name is in the wrong order, but that could happen because he has such a foreign name that they could say, oh, maybe, they get confused of what's the last name, what's the first name, and stuff like that. So, and some people have, if they're foreign, they have like 4 names and stuff like that. So didn't think really much about that. Just thought, okay, I got a sales here, got a contract. Of course, as a realtor, you're excited because you got everybody to agree and everything's good. Anyway, as the story goes on, I said, I need a copy of your passport. So he sends a copy of his passport. So anyway, when we Google Kuwait image search for a driver's license, just for kicks, the gentleman's picture comes up on this driver's license. He's already sent me with his name on it. And the Kuwait images comes up, and it's a gentleman, and it's not the same name. So we have a problem now because I have a driver's license that has the correct name of the seller. And then I have this, then I'm looking at Google images, literally Google the first one. So, not to if you're a scammer, don't pick the first Google image search, go like the fourth or something. But anyway, so I get the Google image search. I see my customer who's matching this ID and they don't match. The names don't match. So obviously someone has copied. One of them is false. And I want to say, maybe my guy's still telling the truth. Maybe someone's copied him and he's on Google's image search. So benefit of the doubt. So I said, I need you to send me your passport. This was his Kuwait driver's license. Passport. I have a passport. Gosh, what do you say? I have a German passport, Kuwait driver's license. So on the Kuwait driver's licenses, they actually have a passport number on there. So hoping that when he sends me over the passport number, then it's going to match the Kuwait driver's license number on there. So he sends it over, and that one is also photoshopped to the point where you can see the actual Photoshop of the colors when you Google search something and you Photoshop it and say they laid it on like a polka dotted paper. You can see the polka dot paper around it, and I can see all the polka dot. It's the same exact thing again. So he's copied it again. And then he sent me a message that he'll take the 10% penalty, just wire him the money and he'll take the 10% penalty. That's fine. He'll send his wire instructions over. So in the meantime, I had to notify everyone that it's most likely fraud. The gentleman, he can't prove his citizenship. He can't prove nothing is legit, and the driver's license isn't real. Passport's not real. So the title company comes up with an idea to reach out with the address on file with the Hernando County property appraiser. Long story longer. So we send out stuff to them, and that's Kuwait, and we've received no response for the actual real seller. And then I called the Hernando property appraiser and asked them, how long has this address been, for the seller? Because the taxes have been getting paid and stuff. And they said for at least 10 years that they could see on the record. So we knew that address was legit. The people paying it are from that address, and they haven't responded back. Because if they do respond back, I have a bunch of buyers for them that want to purchase their land because they're going to be the real seller. But so so this is the latest scam. So literally pretending that they own a property. And they've had more than one in the state of Florida of people just saying that they own the property, coming up with false identification. And then when they go to, we go at the end, you have to have legitimate social security number, driver's license, passports. You have to have proof. So a lot of it is in vain. But a lot of them are still getting scammed in the state of Florida and across the United States for land contracts, just looking at land that looks dormant and just trying to take advantage of that. So that's another scam that we avoided this week. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, I'll tell you about the other scam on the rentals. And I'll talk to you guys in just a sec. Welcome back. We're talking about scams and fraud. So I had the rental I think I told you guys about on Madison Street, Newport Richey, and I had several people get contacted by, first of all, I think I told you guys the background story, but what they did was they reached out, the customers or the people that wanted, the renters, reached out to this ad, and the ad was on Craigslist. And now remember, Craigslist, I'm not talking bad about Craigslist, but it can be a little sketchy. You got to make sure and you got to verify. So anyway, the these potential tenants, meanwhile, I'd already rented the house out first. Side note, I'd already rent the house out. House is already rented. Okay. So I get a call from, we just sent money. I told you guys this, Cash App to this lady, blah, 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 her name. And then they sent the ID, which I showed you guys her ID and stuff like that. So I went to the police department and I had the people who contacted me direct and said, we're supposed to meet you Sunday. And I said, no, I've already rented it. And they said, we sent you $1,000. I said, no, you didn't send it to me. So they contacted their bank and they froze it on Cash App. Hopefully they got their money back. The whole thing after I talked to them for a while was they were out of state. And that's why they sent the money, because they really thought they were saving the house, which makes more sense than just, I'm in Newport Richey and I want to rent a house in Newport Richey and I couldn't, you know what I mean? I just Cash Apped it. So if you're out of state, it made more sense. I felt bad because she was an older lady and she's just being taken advantage of by the picture. Looked like an older lady that was taking advantage of an older lady. But I'm sure that the picture and the driver's license this woman sent to state she was the owner and everything was probably a fake ID as well. But anyway, so I get another call and the guy sounds really official and stuff. So I was like, oh no, what'd I do? Who's in trouble? And he's like, is this Jessie Walters? And I said, yeah. And he's like, are you familiar with 5920 Mass Street? I said, yes, I am. How can I help you? I'm about to rent it. And I just noticed that you are the person on here. And I've been talking to someone else. And I said, well, there's a scam right now. I'd already gone to the police department. I already reported this. The other people already reported it. It's already rented. I appreciate your inquiry. I hope that you didn't send these people money. Oh, no, I didn't. I just got that feeling. I better do some research. So I did. When I put the address in, your name came up. So I thought I'd call you direct. And I said, well, good call, because it's already rented. Now people are actually in it. It's off the internet. So hopefully the scam won't continue. But what the scam is right now is like I told you guys, even if you're renting it yourself, they copy your ad. So, excuse me, say you go on Zillow and you're like, I can just rent this out myself. No big deal. So you go and you put your rental stuff on Zillow. What they do is the scammer copies your ad on there and puts it on Craigslist, and then people, or on Facebook Marketplace, or on, Nextdoor app, and they put your rental out there and they put it at this price. It looks fantastic. So you get lots and lots of inquiries on it. And so if you as a owner or a landlord put, like, say, a key out there and these people sound really nice. I'm just going to tell one person the code so I don't have to run over there, because you get so many calls, call after call after call with the rentals. So you tell them, well, here's the code. It's 2020. And they go, okay. So now the scammer's got the code to your lockbox. And now the scammer is either saying, oh, I'm a realtor, give me the code, or I'm need to go over there right now, give me the code. So they get the code. As soon as they get the code and they copied your whole ad and put it on Craigslist, now they're literally giving people the code. There's people in your house. You don't even know. You're living your life. You may have already rented it, such as I had, but I only had given the code to one realtor who I had verified through our showing system and stuff. So I knew that no one was getting in the house, but I reported it to the police just because these people were getting scammed out of thousands of dollars, So they copy the ad. Or if you're a legitimate realtor and it's a listing, they copy your realtor.com ad. I had one a couple of years ago, did exactly the same thing and threw a couple better pictures, better than the house, in there. But this one, lately, they've just copied the exact ad, put it about $400 cheaper or $500, and just put, like, this one said, I'm a first-time landlord. I know this is a great deal. I just want to get a good couple in here. Well, most landlords are not miserable, but they're not begging for a tenant. They're more like, here's the property, no evictions, no smoking, want a clean person, you know what I mean? So they're usually not like acting like, oh, I just want to get a good person for $500 less a month than it's worth. I know it's worth a lot less. So if you see any of these red flags, then they should make it go off. And the best way to check it is to put the address in there and kind of do a reverse search. So that's what that gentleman had done. So you see it on Craigslist, this address, and you say, what if you find out the address from, if you think it's legit and you find out the address and you're like, okay, it's 1234 Main Street. So then you go to Google search 1234 Main Street rental, hit enter. And then if a realtor comes up, call that realtor and say, and the whole ad will come up and you can see, is it different in price? So as Craigslist says 800, but this ad says 1375. Oh, you know what I mean? Red flag. And then go back to Craigslist if you can find the ad, and hit the scam alert button on there. So that's the problem with Craigslist is every time I would track the woman down that kept scamming everybody with the ad, she would remove it because we'd hit the scam button, but then she'd redo it again and again and again. So I had one client, oh, I see her on here again. She just placed it. And I said, can you hit the scam button? I can't even find this lady on here. I'm spending all this time trying to find the scammer anyway, long story short, she hit the scam button, take it off. But then 2 weeks later, it's back on, and the lady's just there, getting people doing the scamming stuff again. So what I have, my message to the scammers is, you guys are taking all this time and all this energy, and literally, I mean, you may have some abilities. Maybe it's web design. Maybe it's because you're copying and pasting. You're spending all this time on a computer. Maybe work from home on a computer job. Maybe do something other than trying to scam poor people out of their $1,000 deposits and stuff like that. And I've had, when they call me direct or I get their phone numbers, that's what I tell them. I say, you're spending all this time scamming people and you're getting all this, bad energy. You're doing all this stuff. You're hurting all these people. Nothing good is going to come out of it. You get that $1,000, but then they're off to the next person to try to scam them. So why don't you try to do something good and maybe get like a real job? So anyway, I actually do call and text them that, because the police don't do anything, because they said on this one, the Newport Richey one, they said it is what's it called? Not UPC, that's grocery stores. The IPE, I think it is. That looks like Africa. So when they researched it, so they there's some call centers in Africa now that are actually like doing stuff like this as far as making extra money. And if you do call them out, they are very apologetic. If you say, why are you scamming? They say, oh, I'm so sorry. I had a couple of them say, I'm so sorry. I need this to live. And will you send me money then? And I'm like, no, I'm not sending you money. Get a real job. Don't stop doing this, So, but if you wire money to Africa, it's the same thing on our housing, our escrow deposits and stuff like that. Now they have a second authenticity where they authenticate they'll give you like a number or the end of an account number. Always do that. Always call, make sure not the number that they give you in the email to authenticate it. Google the title company you're at, call them direct and say, hey, I'm about to wire a escrow deposit. Can I verify this account number before I send? And just do that. It only takes a couple seconds. Most of the time the customer will do that, because the realtor will put that on you to do that, because the title company will want to hear from the actual buyer who's doing the escrow. So always do that. Always take that time to authenticate. That way you're not sending your money to Africa. There was a couple on the other coast of Florida. We're like Clearwater, Tampa area, and this one was Fort Myers area. So on the other coast, they had sent $50,000 in a wire, and they were unable to get that money back. And as the story went on, the realtor had gotten into trouble on it too. So everybody kind of got into trouble. One, because they hadn't authenticated the wire. Someone had gotten into their email and actually scammed them that way. So they went into their email address, and then they're watching your emails. And then at the end, when you're about to send the wire, so you have, say the mortgage is coming in, but you're short that $50,000 and you're about to send the wire, that's when they hack in. So they'll just sit there and watch your emails the whole time. So that's when they did it. And this is approximate amounts. I'm telling you, because it wasn't exactly 50,000, but they wired over 50,000. And then when they realized, they called the title company to see if they got it, and they never got it. They realized they got scammed. The realtor at that point should have called the bank, because it does take, it goes through the Fed, so it does take a little while for it to get sent. And the realtor never called the title company, never called the bank, and so they got into trouble too, from not, literally following up or doing anything. So as soon as that rental scam that I got, I told the lady, call the bank immediately. And it was through Cash App. So she said she thought she caught it, but most of the time when I talked to the police, they said Cash App doesn't catch it, or they can't catch it through Cash App. So I don't know. I never had talked to them again. So I don't know if they, if they got scammed. And the whole thing is it's embarrassment too when you do get scammed. Not everybody walks around talking about it because, can you imagine sending $1,000 overseas to someone you don't know and you can't get it back? It's embarrassing, But these scams are out there, so everybody has to be careful. And then, like I said, there was that new one when I was telling you guys last week, where they say, did you make this transaction? Which you always get those. Like, did you just buy this transaction, Wells Fargo? And you're like, oh, yeah. And you hit just yes or SunTrust or Truist or whatever, whoever you have. And you'll hit yes. But it'll say no. And it says, we're going to send you a 5-digit number to verify it's you. And then they call and they say, what's the 5-digit number? Well, if they do that, that's a scam too. So they act, and it says like the bank ID on it and everything when they call you. But when you give them that 5-digit code, they're literally going into your bank account and resetting your password. So the best thing to do is if they call you, which they hardly ever do, is to actually turn your credit card over or call your bank, Google your bank number direct, then say, I just had this call, I just had this text. Is that, is there a problem? And that's what the woman who was going to get scammed on that one. Now that one, I don't know her. She just had posted like a FYI, everybody like scam alert. And she had said that she had the call dropped. And when the call dropped, she called the bank back direct and they had no idea what she was talking about. They said that she was on there resetting her password and it had sent her a 5-digit code to verify it was her. So if she would have gave the 5-digit code to the scammer, they would have just gone in and took all of her money. So you have to be really careful. As Shannon was saying, someone last week had, I think took about $600 out of her account too. So it's best just to keep an eye on everything. Check your bank accounts, make sure if it's too good to be true, then it probably is, and stuff like that is, I guess, kind of the way, it is right now. A lot of times you'll see stuff online and it'll be, again, too good to be true. Don't send the money. If they ask for the money, obviously don't send it. Even on the free stuff, they'll say, is it still available? I'm going to send you a code right now. On Craigslist, I put some free stuff outside and I was like, are you kidding me? I can't believe people are actually trying to scam me on free stuff, Curbside pickup, when it's gone, it's gone. Don't text me. So anyway, those are my scam updates for this week. I just thought it was funny with that land, I've never had a seller who wasn't a seller pretending to be a seller and then actually trying to make money out of people and stuff. It's pretty bad. But I did notify all the agents on the other ones, and the other files were all basically closed so that he doesn't end up scamming any of them. And they didn't believe me until they saw the Google image search, which I just have to make sure I can throw that up here and show you the pictures and stuff, because you guys are going to kick out of that one, because it's just like, why if you're going to copy something and you're going to take it off the internet, why use the first Google image search? That could probably give you guys a hint. If you Google Kuwait driver's license, there's probably my guy that comes up right there, and then Kuwait, or then Germany passports. The fake passport comes up right there. So it's hilarious, because don't even go to the third or fourth one. Use that one with all the stuff in the background so we can see it's exactly the same. And then you put the names in the wrong order and just a mess. But anyway, so everybody just make sure, and also on the land, I've had some people ask on, if I take care of their land next door, and I've took care of it for a couple years now, it's my land, right? And that's not how that works either. I had a call on the weekend, and it was, if I take care of it, if I mow it, if I do this. So there's some laws and stuff on that. And usually it's fencing they're talking about. So if you have your fence and it's over, say it's 2 foot over on your neighboring side, and that fence it's their property, but you have your fence over on it and you've always mowed it. Those are what those suits are about. They're not, you go outside your fence and you mow the yard and the people just think you're being nice. They don't think you're trying to, that's going to be my property. So that's not how that works. It's you maintain this and then you're going to try to literally make a suit against them to get their 2 foot and to prove that you've maintained this for so many years and it's your 2 foot of property, not theirs. At the end of the day, it's probably better just to move your fence than to try to fight. Because I've seen this where they go, well, my fence has been like that for 15 years, so I think that's my land. And no, it's still their land, but your fence is encroaching. It's an encroachment on their land. And unless something is legally done on it, it's still their land. So if you have your fence and you're trying to sell the property, as soon as the appraiser comes out and sees that the fencing is on their property, the new buyer has to sign that they see, and then you're going to have to notify the owner. And sometimes the bank won't let that fly. Sometimes they'll say, you have to actually move the fence and stuff. So if you're, thinking, well, I took care of this for so long, it's got to be mine now. That's not necessarily how it works. But I did have one, like I said, this weekend, they put a fence up the neighboring property, and they just put a fence up at the end of like an easement. They put it right across an easement. And so I was just telling them, because they were saying we're going to contact an attorney, and I was saying, you shouldn't contact an attorney because you have no loss. The easement you're not using, but that there was another parcel that they had landlocked. That's the person who is actually making the loss or whatever. So it's kind of hard to explain, but basically a road and a house and then a fence where the road ends. So no one can get through, the road ended there anyway, but it blocked this piece of land and this piece of land. So that's what called landlocking is. So when that fence came across, you just have to make sure that you're not at a loss. So this person was the one that could sue or get them to move the fence or just go take it down in the middle of the night. I'm just kidding. All right, so I'll be right back. I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about prices and what's getting expensive. Hi, welcome back. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg. And I try to have the feel-good story of the week. We were talking about prices going up. Of course, that's not feel-good story. But I was in San Antonio, which sounds so far away, Florida, not Texas. And it was a hot afternoon. This is like a couple days ago. And I'm showing a property, excuse me, and I can see a goat and I can see a dog, and my customers are running a couple minutes behind schedule. And this customer, every time they had bought a house from me before, and every time we go out looking something like we've seen goats, and we've seen a guy that looked like a goat with a bunch of goats. You know how they get that billy goat like beard? And then he had a goat, and it looked like they were like related. That was the last time we went out. This is like 4 years ago, showing her houses and stuff. And he was on a hill, and the guy was on a hill, and it was just like the craziest. But anyway, so I'm waiting for her, and she's like, something strange always happens. Her name's Sarah. When I see you, and I'm like, no, it's, that was funny, the billy goat story, and the guy looked just like a billy goat. No big deal. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, I see a goat. So I took a picture of the goat, sent it to her, and I'm like, this might be it, because there's a goat right here, laughing with her. And she's like, sorry, running a couple minutes behind. Anyway, I'm looking over there, and there's a rooster, and it's a really pretty rooster, and he just keeps walking, and and I'm just sitting there, so like on the carport, just looking at this goat and this pit bull and kind of like this country setting. I'm like, oh, this is nice, big pieces of land, and it's nice. And I see this rooster, and he keeps taking his head and kind of digging it down, and then he's like panting, and he's walking back and forth, and he's panting, and she gets there, and I go, and she goes, oh, I know the neighbor that lives next door, and I said, oh, okay. And I said, oh, that's nice. I said, I don't know if something's wrong with their rooster. I don't really know roosters, but any animal that pants all the time and keeps digging its head in the ground and stuff, something looks worrisome. So she's like, let's see if he's, at the end of I showed her the house, and then I said, that rooster still doesn't look good. She's like, let me call her. So she calls her, and she said she's been sick and she's in bed, but she'd come check on the rooster. So I took an old rag from the house I'm showing, is like in the garbage, and I took it on top of the rooster cage and made like a little shadow for this rooster, and he ran right over, and he started hanging out, and there was a chair on the ground, and I kind of put it up like a lean-to and made like a bunch of shades. Then the rooster ran over there and got in the shade and stuff. And anyway, long story longer, the homeowner came out even though she was sick. So I just sat sitting on the carport thinking, well, I don't know what she's sick with, and I don't know her, and I feel bad because I called her out on this rooster thing. So I'll just stay over here. So I'm watching from afar, and they're all kind of trying to figure out what's wrong. Anyway, I get a call or a text, and they said, hey, by the way, I just want you to know you saved the rooster's life. So that's right. I'm a rooster saver. And you know what, though? When I got home, I felt really bad because I had chicken for dinner. So I don't know if that's a good story or not. But I was like, I saved a rooster, but I'm eating chicken for dinner. So I was like, oh. But anyway, it was a beautiful little rooster, and he's alive and well. So we got another life saved. Check. So anyway, we're talking about, that's my good story of the week. We're talking about prices continuing to rise. And of course, we're all feeling this at the gas pump and so gas has gone up. I know you guys want to know how much, approximately 42%, which I think we all know that. It's 42%. I don't know what state that they're getting this from, but it feels like it's 100% for us. But, we all know that when gas prices go up, it means that everything else goes up because everything needs gas pretty much to get to the location where you're going to buy it. So that really, makes things go up a lot. And then, which I didn't know, rental cars have gone up. And when we were talking about cars, used cars gone up 24%. And there's a statistics yesterday. This is like a Debbie Downer thing, but yesterday, car repos are up 30%. And the reason, and so you look at your neighbor's car and you're like, oh, that's brand new. I wonder if he's in the 30%. But it's not like that. It's the people that bought used cars on payments and paid the higher interest because everything else has gone up. So now it's unaffordable for the higher interest rates on those payments is why those are, the cars are getting repoed. So in other words, if you bought a used car at a higher interest rate, not saying that you're going to get your car repoed, but that's the statistic, not the new car purchases, but the used car purchases. So from like the buy here, pay here lots, those have gone up 30% right now for repos. And it's funny because it says house foreclosure is up, but it goes like this. 2018 house foreclosures, 2020 no house foreclosures. You know why? Because there was COVID. We weren't allowed to have any, or 21. We weren't allowed to have any house foreclosures at that time. It was all locked up. If you remember, there was no evictions, no house foreclosures. So they're like, oh, and then now house foreclosures are up. But it's the same. It's like, it's exactly where it was in 2020. So I guess everything's back to normal. They're doing all the house foreclosures and stuff again. So that was used cars. Hotels are up. I think we know that too, because hotels have really gone up a lot too. Appliances are up 7.1%. And, if you do some fancy footwork on, so say you're short on money and you're going to buy an appliance, you can either open a credit card, make sure you pay the credit card off, and they'll give you like 5%, depending if you're at Lowe's or Home Depot. You can also buy the 10% off. This is just like tips. You can buy the 10% off. Make sure it's valid on appliances. Make sure it is not expired. You can buy one of those coupons on eBay. And so what I suggest you to do is if you're going to go to Lowe's, you buy Home Depot on eBay for 10-15% off, and make sure it says appliances on that coupon. You buy that coupon and they're going to send it to you. Then you go into Lowe's with your Home Depot coupon and you say, I have this coupon. And then if you're going to buy Home Depot, you get Lowe's coupon. But if you, for some reason, because I've done this a couple times, if you buy Home Depot and you take that coupon to Home Depot, they go, no, this is for whatever. And you're like, oh, and then same with Lowe's, this is for, but if you go on eBay and buy that, there's coupons 10% off, 15% off, but you just have to make sure it's for what you need it for. So blow up the coupon and it will have the coupon code's all blocked, but it'll say what you can use it for. So if you're trying to use it on kitchen cabinets right now, Lowe's 10% off, and 5% extra 5% if you use a credit card. So you get 15% off. So you don't just walk in there cash with that 7%. There's ways to beat that. So that's what I do on the coupons. Buy a coupon, and then, like I said, if you're going to buy Home Depot, buy it for Lowe's, and they'll use it. They'll honor it. Electricity. Yeah, electricity's up 5%. Well, 5.2%. Restaurants is up 4.7%. And, I noticed that with restaurants. So I used to go and get this one salad with watermelon. It was a watermelon salad and had these big chunks of watermelon. And I was always like, this is the best salad. Can't wait to get the salad again. So it was Valentine's Day and I thought, oh, I'm going to get that salad. Well, anyway, the portion sizes, it was the same exact price, but the portion sizes were really small. And then I was like, where's the watermelon? And I was so sad. And I figured I'd just make it at home for less. But so you'll notice, and now I'm hungry and I'm thinking about the watermelon, but the prices might be the same and the portion sizes are down or vice versa. But they're saying restaurants are up 4.7%, so 5%. And then now remember, we were overpaying for restaurants in COVID times because we were like, remember, we couldn't go out anywhere. So if we had restaurants or we did pick up, we would tip those servers more anyway. So it's probably about the same because, you would say, well, I'm going to get some to-go food, but this restaurant, I don't want them to go out of business. So I'm going to tip them a little extra, the servers and stuff. And everybody was working together. So in restaurants, I feel like it's justified to 5%. It's probably about the same we were over tipping for during COVID anyway. And then it says rents are 2.9%. So a good thing on rents to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in your area. I usually don't suggest Zillow for, a lot of people look at Zillow, my Zillow value. And so Zillow isn't always accurate, especially if you live, like I told you guys this before, if you live on water, if you have a big, large parcel property, if there's, say, water across the street, if there's a view, Zillow doesn't know that. Zillow just knows the cookie cutter neighborhoods, price per square foot, and they just look at your property and do it that way. And they'll add on a little more if you have a pool and vice versa. So if you're sitting on a lake and Zillow and all the other properties in your area are on that same lake, then Zillow will be a little bit more accurate. But if you're on a lake and all these other properties are not, or vice versa, you're not on a lake and all these other properties, and you're like, well, they got 700,000. Why is mine only worth 550? We got a lakefront premium. Depends on how big the lake. Depends if it's a ski lake. Depends. All that stuff comes into place too. So anyway, so when it comes to rentals, as we were saying, it said the rent is up 2.9%. You can see what your house would actually rent for. If you go on Zillow, it'll say rent amount. And sometimes those are accurate. Like I said, it depends on how many rentals are in the area, how much per square foot, but it will give you an idea of, if you wanted to keep that asset and actually move to another house and have that as a rental income, excuse me, it will kind of give you an idea of where you're at. But if you need an idea on that, I'd be glad to help. You can always give me a call and I can pull the rentals in the area. But it is on there and it's pretty accurate. I just had a customer that I listed it for 2 days. I got over asking. And it's so funny because people are like, is the real estate market slow now? And I have never been more busy. I've been getting home at 7:00 at night. I've been showing properties everywhere. There's been multiple bidders on most of the properties, the new listings I've been showing, because there's still a shortage. And so I think when you look at the news, and you see what the projection is for real estate and stuff, you have to remember that, again, I always say Florida beats to a different drum because everybody wants to move here for retirement. So when I listed this house on Bellicray in Land of Lakes, like I said, I got 2 offers on it right away. I had 5 people that wanted to see it the next day. And I had 1 person that said it was overpriced. It kind of cracked me up. So it's like, who's watching what news, So one's like, I'll give you $5,000 over. The other one's like, we want it too. And this one's like, it's disgusting and I want nothing to do with it. And you're overpriced. And then 5 other people want to see it. So I was like, well, the chances are it's priced just right. And, we're going to sell it in a day or 2. Then my sellers decided to pull it from the market and they want to rent it out. And I was like, oh no, because I got full price over, and I normally don't disclose because, you're not supposed to, but because it's pulled from the market, I can disclose. So yeah, we got 5, within everybody wanted to see this house. I got calls all night, all day. And then they said, we want to rent it. And then again, they're going to rent it themselves. So I suggested the Zillow thing, or I do rent out houses, but I don't, we're not in my office allowed to do monthly management. We're only allowed to get you your tenant, get you the lease signed, and then you have to do the monthly management, monthly repairs, stuff like that. Excuse me, if you go to another real estate company where they do it for you, they usually charge, like the average is 10% a month. So if you're getting, $2,500 a month, you're paying them $250. So now you're getting $2,225 for your house. And then every repair they have, they put on about 10%. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. 10% on top of that. So say you had to get a water heater, and a water heater, believe it or not, I got to tell you a water heater story. Your head's going to explode. But let's just say the water heater is $1,000. Then you have to pay $100 extra. So then that realtor gets $350 that month. So you get $250 for your 10%. Then the repair, they get $100, so you get $350. So $2,500 minus your $350, so you're at $2,125 or something, right? $2,150. But anyway, somewhere in there. So they just subtract out your rent, and then they send you your rent check. So if you don't want to deal with anything with the tenant whatsoever, you get a monthly management. If you don't mind dealing with the tenant, then you can do it yourself. And I can find you a tenant, and it's usually the first month's rent. But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so we had a tenant or a real estate company that was a customer came to me and said they were finding the most expensive bid for repair because they made 10% off of it. So you want to make sure that it comes with a lot of references so you don't get taken advantage of. But anyway, I was getting a price on a water heater, 28-gallon water heater. So it's one of the little ones. Look at this big. And so I had to get a price for my customer. And of course, they're not going to, they're not going to take it in and take it out and do all that stuff. So I said, and I'm not going to mention any plumbing places. This is Pasco County. But I said, how much is it for the water heater? Meanwhile, I just walked by the water heater at Lowe's or Home Depot, one of them, and it was like $500. Okay, so I go, how much is it? And she said, well, installed, it's about $1,050. And I was like, oh, wow, they get a lot. They get like $500 to install it, $500. And they said, you want the pan underneath of it? And I was like, yeah, the plastic pan. Yeah, well, if you want the plastic pan, $60 more. So we're $1,160. And I said, okay. And they go, oh, in Pasco County, by the way, you have to pull a permit on water heaters now. So every water heater you put in, or if you're a realtor watching this and your customer's putting a water heater in, make sure they pull a permit. If you're doing everything legally, if you're not doing it legally, I don't want to know. But it's $160 for a permit on top of that. And then there was one other thing. Let's see, it was $1,050. Anyway, ends up. So I said it's going to be about $1,500 for a 28-gallon water heater. Yes, it is $1,500. So I mean, I used to help people with this all the time. It was like I thought $600 was a lot. You know what I mean? For the big one. Or $800 was, oh my gosh, I'm getting ripped off. But now try $1,500. So I mean, I know if you want the service and stuff like that, it's just crazy for the little teeny 28-gallon water heater. So just nuts, $1,500. So anyway, on that one, the homeowner went and got the $500 one and put it in themselves. I'm not saying anything, but I had a handyman do it. It's nothing to do with me. Unpermitted water heaters, nothing to do with me. But anyway, that was in Pasco County, and I'm not giving out any addresses, so you can't tell on the people. But I just thought that was crazy. I was like, I mean, I know, like, when you call if you call a service and they have someone answers the phone, they do appointments, they got to get a paycheck, and then they have someone that comes out and installs it, they got to get a paycheck, and then they have someone who pulls the permit. They got to get a paycheck. So that's 3 employees right there. So how much do you think it's really going to cost? You're paying, the plumber is getting probably, at least probably $50 an hour. And these people are making probably between 15 and 20 an hour. So you do all that, how many hours is it going to take, and so it justifies the $1,500, but it's just funny how things have gone up so much. But anyway, they say to just make sure you have money on hand for the extra fees, at extra prices, that things are going up in price because of inflation has gone up. So they're saying be careful about, the fees and stuff like that in different places that you might not be realizing that you're paying extra fees, like say on your credit cards. They have credit cards you can switch to at lower fees and stuff like that. But I'm going to go through a whole podcast and tell you guys what to watch, what to look out for, how to save money here and there. And of course, if you're buying or selling, give me a call. I'd love to help. And I'm Jessie Walters with Charles Rutenberg. And thanks for joining me today. Have a blessed day.